Greetings, everyone in YouTube world. It's Will again, and welcome to another MPK journey. Today, my travels took me to Mindanao for the first time. I landed in General Santos and took a trip to Palomalo in the province of South Cotabato, also known as the land of the Dreamweavers. I took Cebu Pacific into the General Santos airport. The airport is not huge, so it was easy to navigate, and there were taxis ready and waiting right outside to take you to your destination. One of the first sights I noticed when I got off the plane was this somewhat ominous-looking landmark in the distance. I quickly learned this was the famous Mount Matutam. At the time, a Grab car wasn't available. Fortunately, I had a very efficient driver that got me to my destination very quickly. Somewhat off-the-grid local hotel was the Tropiland Hotel. I had a difficult time finding it online as it was recommended by word of mouth. The shower was hot and the room and the beds were clean with the sofa, table, refrigerator, and television. It was a pretty nice room with no frills, but very economical and extremely easy to catch a trike right out in front. Now, one thing about Palomalo I did not know was it is the home of the biggest pineapple plantation in the country, Dole, Philippines. It is about 12 to 15,000 hectare pineapple plantation, which is over 29 to 37,000 acres. It produces fresh and processed pineapple, and as you can imagine, Dole, Philippines hires a lot of workers. I had the opportunity to ride by the Dole plant in a trike when a lot of the workers were getting off. It was very busy with lots of traffic from the trikes, motorbikes, cars, and people walking on foot. I noticed that most of the trikes here were the same color and design. That made me think there is some regulation of sort for this mode of transportation here. If you are just traveling to a destination within the general vicinity, I found out that the cost of the trike ride is always the same, which makes things easier and less opportunity to be overcharged. But the trike drivers are hard workers trying to earn a living just like everyone else, to support their families, and you have to respect that. As I was making this video, I suddenly realized that I didn't see a lot of jeepneys. I wasn't sure of the reason behind that, but maybe that is why there were so many trikes. In other cities, I got used to seeing many jeepneys, one after the other, with them all being full, and sometimes riders even hanging on the back. Walking in the province along the pineapple fields, I learned a little about pineapples while in Palomalo, especially how to pick an unripe green one as opposed to a ripe one. Look for the ones with the mature, long crown and has begun to turn that golden yellow. Believe it or not, until I was in Florida probably less than 10 years ago, I had always thought pineapples grew in trees. At my aunt's house in Florida, she had a pineapple plant growing right by her front door. I was shocked because I had never seen one before. It was also odd because I was stationed in Hawaii in the military, and there were pineapples being produced there. I guess pineapples were the last thing on a young soldier's mind back in the day. Both Dole and Del Monte established plantations on the island of Mindanao back in the 1920s. Currently, the Philippines remain one of the top exporters of pineapples in the world. In fact, according to data from 2021, the Philippines was tied with Costa Rica and Indonesia for pineapple production. If you haven't seen this clip already, here is how to not pick a pineapple because it's not ripe at all.
Yeah, that's it.
but I was proud of that snap. Here, ladies and gentlemen, the expert showed me how to find a good ripe pineapple. Trust me, that pineapple was so sweet and juicy. Now, to me, there is nothing more soothing than walking in the wind and enjoying the sounds of nature and animals around. This is how I grew up, in a very small, rural town, less the fruits growing in trees. Although I ended up in a big city with sounds of sirens, horns, and music blasting, I truly enjoyed the sounds of being in the province. The first time I woke up to that recently, it was like music to my ears. Some people may not like hearing the roosters, but I definitely prefer it over the sounds of sirens. My ultimate goal is to be near the beach. That was a huge factor in moving to someplace warm and tropical, like the Philippines. The goal of this stay was to get some steps in for a little exercise. But needless to say, that supermarket was a little further than I expected. This is the street which the hotel was on. It can be very busy at times, but again, it's very easy to catch a trike because they kept stopping to offer a ride. And there is both a restaurant and bakery along the way to the supermarket. I mentioned it in another video that basketball is a huge thing in the Philippines. It was at this very wet market that someone yelled out, "Michael Jordan!" as they saw me in the crowd. I also learned that it's no disrespect if people stare at you, especially the kids, because it was at this very market that some kids were literally standing in their tracks, staring at me, and it made me a little uncomfortable for a little while. But I got used to it real quick. Once it got pretty late in the evening and it began to get dark, I noticed something unusual. Either there were a lot of birds or a lot of bats that were flying around in the air. I had never seen so many at once in one particular place. Were they birds or were they bats? I'm not sure. I think they were birds. But you tell me, what do you think they are? I did have the opportunity to do a few other things, which I will follow up with the part two of my first visit to Mindanao. I'd like to share more stories of the hospitality of the people I met and how I was asked for my picture to be taken several times. I also want to share why this place is called the land of the Dreamweavers. But I will cover that in a later video, as well when I get a chance to visit Mount Matutam firsthand. I've never been up a mountain before, but I'm looking forward to it. If you enjoyed this video, all I ask is for a thumbs up and follow me for more interesting things to come.